What if I told you that the family who cut me off for chasing my dreams ended up dining at my own restaurant, without knowing I owned it? I'm about to share the most satisfying revenge story you'll ever hear, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for the ending. Picture this. You're 24 years old, sitting in your parents' pristine living room, about to make an announcement that will change everything. That was me, about to tell my wealthy family that I was dropping out of my MBA program to become a chef. The silence that followed, deafening. My name is Dira, and I grew up in a world where your worth was measured by your bank account and job title. My parents had mapped out my entire life: business school, corporate job, marry someone equally successful. But here's the thing about passion: it doesn't care about your family's expectations. When I announced my decision to attend culinary school, my father's face went stone cold. "Cooking is servants' work," he said. "Mitchell's hire chefs, they don't become them." My mother gave me an ultimatum that still stings today. "If you pursue this hobby, you do it without our support." So I did. I left that night with nothing but my savings and a suitcase. For the next 5 years, I worked 3 jobs just to survive. I slept 4 hours a night, lived with 3 roommates in Queens, and had burns covering my arms from working the line. My family, they wrote me off completely. But here's what they didn't know. 2 years ago, I opened my own restaurant. Not just any restaurant, one of the most exclusive dining spots in the city. We're talking 4-star reviews, celebrity clientele, and a waiting list longer than most people's grocery lists. I called it Maison, and it became my life's work. Now, fast forward to 3 weeks ago. An elegant invitation arrives at my apartment. My sister Heather's engagement dinner. The location? My own restaurant. The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. They had no idea it was mine. I decided to accept the invitation, but not for the reasons you might think. I wanted to see how they'd treat me when they thought I was still struggling. Would they show compassion, understanding, or would they do exactly what I expected? The night of the dinner, I dressed simply, a black dress that screamed trying too hard on a budget to their trained eyes. I walked into my own restaurant as a guest, watching my staff's confused glances as I took my seat with my family. The performance began immediately. "You look healthy," my father said, which in Mitchell speak meant I wasn't skinny enough for their standards. My sister barely acknowledged me, and when introductions came around, she presented her fiancé Bradley like he was a trophy. "Princeton undergrad, Wharton MBA, just made junior partner at Goldman," he announced. "No, nice to meet you, just credentials." Then came the food criticism. Dish after dish that I had personally created, perfected over months of experimentation, was torn apart at this table. "The portion sizes are ridiculous," my mother complained about my signature tasting menu. "This duck is undercooked," Bradley declared about a perfectly prepared medium-rare breast. My sister left her appetizer untouched, claiming she doesn't do raw garlic even though it was fermented. Black garlic that took 60 days to perfect. But the real moment came when they started questioning how I could afford to eat there. "How exactly are you affording a place like this on a food service salary?" Heather asked, her voice dripping with condescension. "This costs more than you probably make in a day. Are you in debt? Maxing out credit cards?" The whole table stared at me, waiting for me to crumble under their judgment. 5 years of building my empire, and they still saw me as the family disappointment. That's when I decided the charade had gone on long enough. The bill arrived, over $3,000 for 7 people with premium wine pairings. Bradley reached for his credit card, trying to play the generous benefactor, but there was a problem. The check only showed charges for beverages. "Excuse me," Bradley called our server. "There's an error. You've only charged us for drinks." My server Marcus looked at me, waiting for my signal. I gave him a slight nod. "There's no error, sir," Marcus replied smoothly. "The dinner portion has been taken care of by Miss Dira. Your usual table is ready for your investor meeting. Would you like me to handle the situation first?" The silence that followed was absolutely delicious. "Welcome to Maison," I said, looking directly at my stunned family. "My restaurant." You could have heard a pin drop. My father's face went through every emotion possible. My mother's hand flew to her pearls. Heather's mouth actually fell open. "Your restaurant?" my father finally managed. "I'm not just the owner," I explained calmly. "I'm the executive chef and sole proprietor. That food you've been criticizing all evening, I created every single dish. This establishment you deemed worthy of your engagement celebration, I built it from nothing." The questions came flooding out. How? When? Why didn't you tell us? But the most telling reaction came from Bradley, who suddenly became very interested in investment opportunities and expansion possibilities. I explained my journey, the 18-hour days, the 3 jobs, the slow climb from prep cook to sous chef to eventually opening my own place. How I'd bought out my investors and turned this into one of the city's most sought-after reservations. But why keep it secret? My mother asked, her voice small. Because I wanted to see how you'd treat me if you thought I was still struggling. I replied, and you've made that abundantly clear tonight. The truth hit them hard. Every snide comment, every judgment, every moment of condescension, it all came from a place of assumed superiority. They couldn't respect my passion when they thought it made me poor. But suddenly, my choices were impressive. Now that success was attached, my father tried to claim credit for my business acumen. Bradley offered to help me expand. My mother wanted to plan celebratory brunches. But the damage was done, and more importantly, so was my healing. You see, I didn't reveal my success to win their approval. I did it to show them and myself that I didn't need it anymore. Closing, the most beautiful part of this story isn't the shock on their faces or the satisfaction of proving them wrong. It's the realization that somewhere along the way, I stopped needing their validation. I built something incredible not to show them I was worthy, but because I couldn't imagine living any other way. My relationship with my family is slowly healing now. We have brunch sometimes. They ask about my work, and my sister even asked me to cater her wedding. But it's different now, built on respect rather than judgment. The real victory wasn't serving them in my restaurant without them knowing. It was discovering that the only approval that truly matters comes from within. Have you ever had to choose between others' expectations and your own dreams? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. If this resonated with you, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories about finding your authentic path. And remember, the most meaningful success isn't measured by others' standards, but by the joy and purpose you create along your own journey. Trust me, your future self will thank you for choosing authenticity over approval every single time.